Hello everyone. So my goal for this video is just to kind of summarize what he said. I had some help from the Limbus help community and a native Limbus company speaker in translating what he is saying. And I will put all the relevant links and stuff. For example, for Limbus help, we have a live translation here, and then we have a nice summary done by one of the Limbus help community members who basically just did a summary so that you wouldn't have to read, because Limbus players just don't read, question mark. But yeah, there's a lot of different sources here. I'll put them all in the description later, so you can just skip to it if you don't want to go and watch this video. That's fine. But essentially, I'll just be adding on my own comments and stuff about what I'm excited for and blah blah blah. Anyway, let's get on with the Kim Ji Hoon lecture pretty much. So starting off at 9:05, we have an important part where basically he's explaining that the updates have been less frequent due to the fact that they scheduled Mirror of the Wuthering and Walpurgis at the exact same time period, so it was kind of hell for them. In addition, Kim Ji Hoon says like his expectations for the story were very high, so he had to delay some parts of the story so he could change it to meet his expectations. So yeah, that was one of the reasons why this update was a little bit long. Okay, then moving on to 1828, we have the first trailer for the Murder of the Warp Express. Feel free to go and watch that, but I don't think there was too many details given to us except like the day 1, 2, 3, 4 thing, which is pretty much, I don't know, is this like Agatha Christie like storyline or something? But yeah, I don't know. Agatha Christie did the Murder on the Orient Express, I think. So yeah, that could be what they're taking their inspiration for this little event here. And we also have the preview for the IDs and ego for the next event. We don't get to see the ego, but we can see that Faust and Heathcliff will be getting a 3-star and 2-star ID respectively. I was not able to find out which character they're trying to copy here. I did look at someone like maybe the puppeteers, like maybe Jae-hyun, but Jae-hyun's like dead, so I don't think you can actually copy a dead person, can you? But I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, this guy, yeah, I really don't know what they are. And anyway, even if it was Jae-hyun, the weapons is wrong. It can't really be him. So I don't really think that these are puppeteers, but maybe they're a new Warp Corp enemy that we'll be introduced to for the first time. Someone like maybe T-Corp or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I don't really have much to say about this one. I don't have too much info. The Warp Express will not be a mirror dungeon, no story mirror dungeon. Instead, you have to go to mirror dungeon itself, and you will be able to do the Warp Express floor theme pack, pretty much. Right, and then from now on, this is a pretty major one. They are going to make a lot of content now based on chain battles. Right, so chain battles are going to be pretty much the ones where you just keep drawing your chains, and you are now going to always bring 12 sinners every single time. And we are all going to play this game just like we played Refraction Railway number 4. They want to make sinner deaths to be more acceptable, because in the lore it's also like you just throw bodies at the enemy and Dante keeps reviving them. And they also want to add the strategic element in letting sinners die to have other sinners come in, just like in Refraction Railway number 4. Hopefully it doesn't change too much to that line of play, because I think one of my worries is that if they do like 12 sinners requirement, then some players just don't have enough sinners to fill all 12 slots, right? So hopefully at least you can clear with 6. So the rest of the 6 can just sit there, and that will just be like the F2P way of clearing. And then if you have like some ways of like killing your allies quickly, so you can swap in a better character, then maybe that could help for the speedrunners, right? There are like 2 different player bases that they need to try to satisfy here, so I'm a bit worried if they balance it a bit wrongly here. But yeah, that's really pretty much it. I think the next one here is the second goal is that they want us to use more IDs and more egos in every battle, and they want us to see all of the enemy's powerful attacks, because if we actually have full control of the fight, I can actually skip a ton of their mechanics, because I know what I'm doing, I know how to control aggro, and I can target a body part to make all of their attacks like worthless, for example, and stagger them and then kill them really fast. So maybe they want to do chain battles to reduce our control, so that we will be we have to like figure out different ways to deal with the powerful attacks. Yeah, I don't really know how that's going to work out, but they are going to experiment. According to Kim Ji Hoon and my friend, he said like he used the word experiment with this. So yeah, we will just have to wait and see. Okay. And I think the next timestamp is this one, the one I've been waiting for so long. Wild Hunt Heathcliff. Farm Watch, sorry, you're gone, pretty much. Wild Hunt Heathcliff, welcome. We all knew you were coming. I never faltered. I'm sure some people were like, what the hell? But yeah, finally, Wild Hunt Heathcliff is finally announced and he is 100% coming. And we get to see some of his animation styles here. I like how they just kind of copied the horse from the story and then they just slapped the Heathcliff model on top of it. But essentially, this Heathcliff will function with Dullahan mechanics. He will have a phase where he has the horse and he has a phase where he doesn't have the horse. And he also has a gimmick of reviving defeated allies, and this is the most interesting line. They are bringing back counter skill similar to how it worked in Library of Ruina. Now, counter skill in Ruina is really strong because someone like Gebura, right? She doesn't have too much defense, but her attacks all have counter on them. So pretty much how you work with Gebura is that if you solo with Gebura, you just freaking attack. You just keep attacking. And because you have all of these pages, right? All these skills with counters on them, you basically store a bunch of counters in your body. And if enemies try to attack your body, your counters that you stored using your attacks will trigger and they will clash with the incoming attacks. So if it's the defensive version, it will be something like you will block the damage or you will evade the damage. That will be the counter trigger. And if you keep winning the clash, you will keep triggering that same counter skill. So it's very, very powerful and can basically negate one character's entire action on you. For example, if I quick suppression you and you use a counter defense, for example, you basically eat the entire quick suppression, and as long as you keep winning the clash, as long as you keep winning, then you'll be able to just keep eating it. But yeah, that's how it works. And I suspect that Heathcliff is going to be an offensive counter, which is a counter attack. So what happens is that you only have one coin on this offense. On this offensive counter, and let's say the enemy Earl King hits you and you as the Earl King are going to counter him, you will take this one offensive coin that you have stored and you will clash multiple times against the enemy as long as you keep winning, and then you slap him with the offensive coin. So that is a very, very powerful mechanic back in Ruina, and if they actually copy paste it directly into Limbus, it's actually super powerful, because what it means is that if two enemies hit the same person and you clash one of the enemy skills with a skill that has counter on it, you will be able to use the counter that you stored in your character to clash the other guy. So you can clash two people at the same time, you don't take any damage as long as you win the coin toss. So it is very, very powerful and potentially makes Heathcliff a solo character if he has a ton of skills with counter. But I suspect they will balance it very well so that you will not be able to solo too much, because that's like Gebura territory already. I don't think Earl King is a Gebura level trap yet. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be super, super powerful. I just think it's going to be a nice bonus for a character that's going to be very strong, because he is the capstone character of this season. It would be a bit weird if he wasn't like super good in some way or another. Alright, so next big one, Walpurgis, the Noon of Violet. This is a reference to the ordeals, and this is the Violent Noon ordeal most likely, because later on in the artwork we get to see the monoliths here. Yeah, these monoliths, and the Ordeal of Noon also has these monoliths as well. The monoliths mechanic in LobCorp were to basically spawn, nuke all of your allies, and then after that, over time, if you cannot kill the monolith in time, you will start to lose control of your abnormalities. But in Limbus Company terms, this doesn't really matter too much. It could possibly be like this statue here will make your ego resources go crazy, or make like spawns of abnormalities become crazier over time. So you have to really try to suppress this thing. I suspect the mechanic is like kill this thing as fast as possible and then finish off all of the things before it respawns or something like that. I suspect that is what is going to happen with this monolith. So we'll just have to wait and see for now what they are going to cook with that monolith. Right, the next timestamp is 2627. 2627 is boom! Walpurgis ID number 1. This is going to be Yisang. If you crank the brightness up like crazy, it's 100% Yisang. There's no worry about this one at all. This is Grief of the Fireflies. Funeral of the something, basically. For the... Okay, Funeral of the Dead Butterflies. Okay, it's not Fireflies. Fireflies is some other movie, I think. Yeah. So Funeral of the Dead Butterflies appears in both LobCorp as well as in Ruina. I don't think I have the page open, but that fight is under Yesod's control, pretty much. And this guy, right, I suspect is going to be Tremor related, because he has one very powerful ego page in Ruina where he does Solemn Lament. And this thing rolls 8 times, and it does either raw damage or stagger damage. And basically, whenever you use this ego page, right, you 100% guarantee a stagger on most enemies in the game in Ruina. So this thing is also nicknamed like Solemn Delete because it just deletes one target from existence, pretty much. It's very, very powerful. You roll this coin 8 times, like imagine an 8 coin quick suppression, and then you're also Tremor bursting / doing damage at the same time, as long as you're hitting them. It probably won't be to this level, otherwise the game will just be over if they just release an ID like this. And yeah, it shouldn't be like that, but I suspect because it has stagger damage and the boss fight itself also has quite a bit of stagger damage to enemies, we might be seeing a Tremor ID in the future. So yeah, tentatively, I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, this character here could be just another support or another big DPS for the Tremor gang to use, right? Moving on to the next Walpurgis ID. Yes, there are 2 Walpurgis IDs. We have Ryoshu Spider-Bud. And Spider-Bud Ryoshu essentially just functions based on binding, right? It 100% is going to be bind because we already know Red Eyes Ryoshu, the closed and open versions, both of them function using bind. So this ID Ego, whatever you call this, is going to also be a bind character somehow. I don't know if you'll create a whole new bind archetype by herself, or if she will just enjoy bind so much that you want to build a whole team of binders around her. Like, it could be either option, and I think I'll be quite happy because that's a whole new archetype that's just waiting to happen. We have like Ishmael, something Desire, Roseate Desire. Yeah, that one's a bind ego. Also have Honglu Roseate Desire, and there's quite a few other characters with some binds in their kit, which whenever I look at them, I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to do except like make the clashes a little bit easier. But yeah, maybe this character could make bind into something relevant. And unfortunately for a lot of players, besides those 2 Walpurgis IDs, we also have one Walpurgis ego that they're not going to show us the preview for, and we also have 2 announcers in the banner. So this banner is going to be pretty damn stacked. You have a chance of hitting all of the other Walpurgis IDs and egos, and the main ones are going to be these 3, but you also have another 2 announcers as well as the old announcers that are also in the pool to try and fish. So it's going to be pretty nasty trying to fish out these specific characters over here on the left. You might have to burn quite a few pools for this one. Let's hope you also don't have another S-Go moment, alright? Okay, so I suspect for the announcers, right, it's going to be, I believe, Yesod and Horde, because Yesod is Solemn Lament. And I think Horde is Spider-Bud. I can't remember specifically whether Horde is Spider-Bud, but it could, it might be. And I think one of the Limbus help guys also said like it might be Horde, and I can't remember the logic for that one, but that could be the 2 possible announcers. One of them is going to be from LobCorp, and one of them is going to be from Ruina. So I don't know. Like, announcers wise, I don't particularly care as long as it's not Ryoshu, because I'm still waiting for that one. The IDs and the egos is the one that I really super care about. Unfortunately, I might just hit these announcers anyway, no matter who they are. But yeah, whatever. I mean, just have to deal with it. It's just gacha stuff. Okay, so moving on to the next timestamp. After this is going to be 2851, which is a new faction, the Devyat Association North. This North faction is based on Ezra from Distortion Detective, which is another web novel by Project Moon. And Ezra actually got Ezra and the Moses got mentioned in the recent story, the one with Bamboo Hatter Kim, where the Ujat actually came in to try and arrest Bamboo Hatter Kim and bring all of the abnormalities and the pillars into their fold, right? So this is based on that design, and so she's going to have a lot of tech on her. And for some reason, there are also 2 penguins there. I think the penguins are reference to Arknights, because in Arknights, I believe there are some skins with 2 penguins here, but I really don't know why there are 2 penguins here. Anyway, this is going to be techwear inspired, and they're all going to wear large overcoats. Maybe it's just cold up there in the north, right? Because that's why they're in the North Association and they're just freezing, so they just have penguins there. Either way, we are getting a Rodion ID for this one. Kim Ji Hoon himself told us the ID is 100% Rodion 3-star, I believe. Yeah, Rodion 3-star. And Rodion 3-star is also getting Bygone Days ego for herself. And since Bygone Days is a sinking ego, it's likely that Rodion will also be a sinking ID from the Devyat Association. I'm guessing, because Bygone Days, if I remember correctly, is more related to sinking than anything else. This hammer here does kind of imply that she could be a blunt ID again, or she could even be a sword ID. I think the lore is quite cool here. Apparently, they are a transport association, and they throw all their packages into this bag here, and this bag transforms into a weapon, and they use the package as well as this box here to beat the shit out of them. Apparently this is like a bag of holding from Dungeons and Dragons, where you just have infinite space inside. It's a new dimensional space. It's such a cool like little lore things that he's been explaining to us. Very, very cool stuff. Alright, and then the next faction, yes, there's another one that they plan to release, is going to be the Zwei. But this is not just any Zwei, it's the Zwei West Association. The ones we have are South Association. The South Association uses Zwei handlers. This one uses great swords and heavy plate armor. It really reminds me of Monster Hunter, so I'm kind of excited for this design. And I suspect that maybe Dawn will be the ID. We are getting only one ID for this faction, so I suspect it's going to be Dawn with a giant great sword, maybe. But at the same time, it could also be really anyone. I don't know. Dawn just fits, right? Because she's a European knight in her Don Quixote book. So I don't know. It just feels like Dawn with a giant great sword and full metal armor would just be super happy to be there, you know. I hope it's Dawn. I hope it's Dawn. Alright. So that's really all I have to say for this one. Next timestamp is around 34:21, right? Alright, so the next timestamp is at 34:22, and this one is essentially Kim Ji Hoon talking about how he wants to do an improved window UI to showcase all of this, all of the banners pretty much, so that we are able to see the rewards and our hard work to clear all these refraction railway and something turns, as well as the money we paid and blah blah blah. All will be more well shown on the main menu. So that's the UI update that they plan to do. And the next timestamp will showcase a returning and new player event, a login event, where there is a selectable Season 1 ID ticket, so you can get your friends to come back in. And this is just normal gacha game stuff where they give the rewards out so that you can bring old players back in and increase their population, so maybe they spend money in the future, blah blah blah. This is just gacha game stuff. Alright. I don't know if we get this reward, unfortunately, because it is specifically new and returning. I believe Genshin did have one as well, but you had to not log in for a specific like 14 days requirement. So we might not be getting these rewards here, which would, I mean, it would be nice, but I mean, I can live with it, honestly. This is just normal gacha game stuff. So yeah. Alright, the next big announcement here is going to be Chapter 7. So he says that this one's going to be currently in the ideation stage still. He's working very hard with the story director to figure out like what they want to do for Chapter 7, and it's still quite a long way off, so honestly they can still take their time to try and cook it up, but they are working on it already. And the next one here, 3812, is going to be our roadmap for this season, the next season. After the Warp Train, we're going to have the release of Heathcliff, and after Heathcliff's release, we have the UI updates alongside Walpurgis, alongside the Devyat Association North, right? So the UI, I believe, is the only one that Kim Ji Hoon said that they might delay if they need to put more manpower into the IDs and egos for these two banners over here. And to be fair, Walpurgis here is quite a massive banner with 3 Walpurgis things inside of it, the egos as well as the IDs. And then we also have the 2 new announcers. So it's really quite a lot of work here. So I understand if this one gets delayed. And then the next ID, they prioritize IDs over UI updates. So understandable also. Okay, after this one, it's going to be 4014. Quite a far away one. This one is about Mirror Dungeon, and it's going to be the general direction and plans after the Canto 7 update. They want to make Mirror Dungeons more fun to run, and they also don't want people to be very sad when their IDs outside of Mirror Dungeon don't work as well, because the ego gifts such as like Wound Clarion or Glimpse of Flame really kind of define that archetype. So if you don't have those outside of those Mirror Dungeon events, it might be less fun to play. So I mean, that's an understandable thing. Honestly, without Wound Clarion, I probably wouldn't run Bleed normally. Unless I'm trying to do a challenge for myself, then I just run the Bleed gang, and then I'll try to stack Bleed on the target and make him bleed to death. But like, it's so much work compared to in Mirror Dungeon, where you just use like Wound Clarion and then you're pretty much good to go. So I understand this thought. Other things is that they want to maybe add Tread or EXP tickets into the Mirror Dungeon rewards. And this one is awesome if they actually do it. Because right now, the EXP cost is just so ridiculously high, and they forgot to release one EXP dungeon. So now I don't really have an improved EXP dungeon to go and grind up my units, and neither do I have. Okay, I do have the thread dungeon, so I mean, the threads are fine. It's just the EXP that I really am kind of peeved about, because I really cannot build everyone to level 45. It really costs an obscene amount of EXP, and I expect this to be the case for a lot of new players as well. They'll probably be looking at their characters like, holy shit, I have no EXP, I have no threads, as they're building all of their new roster, especially as they slowly like grind and get new characters, right? It's going to be quite a slow slog through without extra source of thread or EXP tickets, in my opinion. Alright, and then the next more exciting one is additional content, because right now the only endgame content we have is Railway or Mirror Dungeon, pretty much. Like, there's nowhere else to test our really strong units that we've built in except these two content, so having more content outside of that would be quite nice for the endgame players. And even just like another side content for new players is also could be quite nice. Yeah, I don't know what it could be. It could be like the Epic 7 has like 100 floor towers, right? You can one time clear each floor, and each floor is a puzzle that you have to go and clear. So this is quite a normal thing, I think, in Korean games. So maybe we will see something like that, or maybe we will see like, I don't know, a weekly raid boss or something like that. That's also in like Counter side, I think. I tried that game a few times. That could also be another content they could do, but either way, like, they have so many options, so many ways to do it. They could also do the Kim Ji Hoon thing and just like do something totally out of here, just do like some Vampire Survivor shit also, I don't know. Like, just do whatever you want, Kim Ji Hoon. Alright, so the next timestamp here is going to be at 42:23. No, it's not, it's 44:02. Okay, Kim Ji Hoon pulls out the VTuber avatar. Awesome. Alright, so now for this avatar, he's going to start talking about less about Limbus company and more about Project Moon. So Project Moon, if you care about that, the company and not the Limbus company, then you can feel free to watch. Otherwise, you're pretty much done. You are done with all of the Limbus company related shit here. Right. For Project Moon stuff, essentially, the game plan here is he wants to keep the team at 50 from now on. He don't want to go any bigger, because if he goes bigger, he feels like he reached the limit of his management. So this is his limit, and if he expands the team, they may become only numbers instead of people with names and faces. He has trouble already currently with the names and faces, so he wishes to make this a club rather than a company, which is quite interesting. And the next one is he's going to keep reiterating it. His goal is to make a company of a small team, but mostly just like a small team, and he thinks of himself as a gaming club president rather than a CEO, right? Another cool thing is that apparently they've made so much money that they can run for 3 years without any profit, and they could still keep going. So that is quite nice. I guess the Limbus company money is really raking in. Alright, I did contribute a few of those, so yeah, I mean, gacha games do make a ton of money. That's why people make a lot of gacha games nowadays. Okay, so after this one, 5310, quite a far away. 5310 is, yeah, he wants to create a stable, long-lasting company, and he wants to make sure that no one's overworked, and they're going to keep making interesting stories and games. So glory to Project Moon, everyone. Right. Next one is 55. 55 is going to be lower the dead weeks for Limbus Company, and also maintain story and visual quality, as well as improve themselves and make sure they are able to do it in a reasonable time frame, so less delays and overall stuff like that. Then he also wants to continue making these messages here, most likely going to be the same format, and he doesn't want to do it too much, otherwise it becomes too boring. It becomes like a lecture every single week. So he wants to do it more like in every quarter or every canto, pretty much, which makes a lot more sense. And in terms of new projects for Project Moon, they want to do it, but they can't, because 50 people on Limbus is already quite painful for them. So they're most likely going to collaborate with other larger developers. Apparently, he's received several proposals from other companies to try and work together to make different games. So hey, at least there's a shot, but currently it's all ideation, so don't expect anything too soon. Right. 103 is the next one. 103 is going to be chibi merch from the August comic market. I think it's in Korea, but yeah, there's going to be chibi merch of all these IDs over here. I think, is that Rupture? No, that's Zwei Sinclair. Zwei Sinclair, I don't care about that one. More details will be revealed via notice. I like this eye mask here with the Virgilius eyes. I kind of want to get one of those. Wonder how I'll get one. Do I need to ship it? I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll ask my native friend there to help me buy. After the comic market closes, all of these items will be sold at Ham Ham Pang Pang as well, so no worries about FOMO here, I think. Hopefully it doesn't become like HoloLive situation where they get sold out and then you have to deal with scalpers and shit. But anyway, next one is AGF Korea. He wants to bring his whole team there, and he wants to specifically give each person one hotel room, right? He said something like, he said that he don't want to put two people into one hotel room because it's like uncomfortable and stuff, and he got a lot of money so he can just do whatever the hell he wants to do, or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Kim Ji Hoon is a mad lad, that's all I can say. Alright, and then he also wants to make sure that the team can eventually go to Western countries as well. So if you're living in America, most likely you will maybe see them in like something like PAX or New York Comic Con, which is kind of cool, right? America is unfortunately not near me, so I'm definitely not going to go for that one. But if it's in Korea, I can possibly just hop in there. So wait and see. Besides that, the rest is just like messages by Kim Ji Hoon. They want to make interesting stories, even if it takes time. Hopefully make a steady stream of bi-weekly IDs and egos. And please continue to support the team. We appreciate you. And he says thank you, arigato gozaimasu, 감사합니다, and thank you. Yeah, he says it in all 3 languages. So yeah. Nice. And then here, the wording he uses here is really interesting because update livestream up to Canto VII compensation. He's giving us 1300 Lunacy as apology for this livestream. So crazy, but cool. Hey, 1300 Lunacy. You give me this every single time you stream, I will 100% just come and watch the whole thing anyway, no matter how scuffed it is. Alright. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the stuff in this one. The real shit that I'm excited for is obviously the story stuff, and mostly just the characters. I want to see what the Warp Train one is going to do, because right now Rose Otis is a bit sus, and I hope the next 2 IDs from the Warp Corp will support her a lot. I want to see what HEATHCLIFF synergizes with his team. Most likely it's going to be the Sinking Butler team, the Wuthering Heights team, as well as some Sinking synergy maybe. And he also needs to function with his Bind's ego. And then we also have Walpurgis. Maybe the release of Ryoshu here will make a whole new Bind archetype, which is going to be quite exciting. And I want to see Solemn Delete in Limbus Company, because I just think it'll be so funny if I just click one button and I just delete one enemy. Because that is what I did a lot back in Ruina. I love Solemn Delete, man. It's just some good shit. But yeah, I mean, it'll be too powerful, honestly. It'll be too powerful for Limbus. I think they definitely have to nerf it like significantly, otherwise it'll just be ridiculously strong. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know, speed ceiling? Maybe it'll be like binding or something, I don't know. Either way, these 2 IDs here could open up quite a few different archetypes in Limbus, and then we have all these new associations here to go and explore with, like lots of good IDs and stuff. Gameplay wise, I'm very satisfied with all of this stuff coming out already. Can't wait to see what teams they're going to be into, and of course I can't wait to see the Warp Train storyline as well as Dream Ending storyline. So yeah, let Kim Ji Hoon cook with his Project Moon team, and that's really all I have to say. Okay, so that's it. Leave your own comments about what you feel about this. All of the relevant links about the summaries for the transcripts and stuff I will put in the description below, and then you can go and click on it yourself if you didn't watch the whole video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.